These are the books that I would consult in order to acquire the skills necessary to incorporate additional details into my model kits. New techniques have emerged over the years. I would like to show you how you can learn and apply these new ideas to your model kits. One such technique is called flame cuts. Late war German and especially Russian armor were rushed into battle. In the battle for Stalingrad, Russian armor was rolled off the assembly line directly into the streets. To do this technique, you will need the following tools: a hobby knife and a Tamiya Scriber. Files and other tools can be used, but this is what I find best to be used when applying it. Whenever you apply any technique to a model, you should always refer to historical photos of your subject. How I apply flame cuts is by running my hobby knife along the armor's plate's edge, going back and forth even with the back edge of my blade. This allows you to score with the Tamiya Scriber, which can be difficult to use when using it on a smooth surface. Then to finalize the look, I will use some Mr. Cement S to clean up my work. Okay, now we are getting to the fun stuff. Let's prepare for adding weld seams to our model. This may seem scary, but it's quite easy to do once you learn how. Again, I want to stress the importance of photos of your subject, as they really aid you in any technique you may do. The tool I use and what works best is a chisel set. I want to point out how thin and wide it becomes at the bottom. Used incorrectly, you could cause damage to the weld seams. However, once you learn the correct angles to use, you will do just fine. The model I am currently working on is a Rye Field model. It's a newer kit and has some nice details, including weld seams. However, this is a very satisfying step and looks really good once painted. Your goal here is to remove the material and create a channel to apply some epoxy putty to make the welds. With older kits, this detail may not be added, so you will need a straight edge and a Tamiya Scriber to begin and to finish with the chisels. Using this tool near the bottom may widen your weld seams. Using it at an angle and an almost upright position will avoid this. Using the tool in a backward scraping motion really works well. This step you may feel may damage or ruin a model, but once you learn the technique, it's really quite easy and fun to do. Upper hulls often had very thin armor plates, which created neater or smaller welds. Using the correct angle is very important in these areas. I'm using the backward scraping, which is giving me a near flawless cut into them. Again, we will use Mr. Cement S to clean up your work. One footnote: try to do this step before adding any delicate details, such as machine guns. Another fun step is actually adding our weld seams. We will do this with these tools. I will have a full list of everything I use in this video in the description. Using Tamiya Epoxy QuickType, roll out a noodle and begin to apply it into the weld seams you created. If it is too thick like I have done, you can simply use a hobby blade to remove any excess. Using a toothpick dipped into water will help the tools not to stick to the putty. Just continue to work it into the seams, but just be aware of the dry time of the putty you are using. Work in small areas to ensure it is still workable to make your imprints. Once you finish that area, you can make the imprints to simulate our welds. If you need help, just remember that the most important tool is the historical or walk-around photos. Just keep in mind that those types are 80 plus years old and may have some new welds or aged quite a bit. The tools I will use for this particular model are a hobby knife and a tool I made from a soda can. I will use them to make imprints in the putty. This is a technique that will require some practice, but once you get some experience, it becomes very easy. While doing this step, I will always have a photo of my subject on my phone to ensure I am getting the welds that I want. The tool I created is working well, but I am switching back and forth going to my hobby blade. Actual photos of armor can be quite difficult to use as reference. Zimmerman, for instance, covers all welds. Walkarounds are good, but can be deceiving. I am happy with my progress and the look of the effect. These clay tools are awesome. Look how they really help to apply the putty to these smaller seams. The pointed ones are really good for smoothing out the entire length of a weld seam. You may recognize this tool, but hey, what works is what works. Learning from a fellow modeler is being in a community, and I hope to use my videos to help others as well. This is a technique I am still learning, and I'm happy with my results, but with experience I will get better. Okay, we have arrived at the best technique for armor models, adding Tamiya basic type putty to simulate rough textures on armor plates. To make this, you will add putty to a mixture of Mr. Cement S or any thin glue. However, do not do it like this, as it is too much of a mixture and will dry out and give you less coverage. Later in the video, I will realize this and create a better mixture. I'm applying the mixture I made earlier that I felt was too thin. It is working, but it is going on a bit watery and drying out quickly. The brushes I am using are cheap, stiff bristled and from dollar stores. They work quite well, and I would highly recommend using a cheap brush and don't ruin your good ones. Okay, now to the correct, my method of doing this. I find that if you add a dollop of putty and add 1 or 2 drops of thin cement to start, it gives you more working time to apply the texture. And then I add 1 drop once it begins to dry out. By doing this and adding that 1 drop in between applications, this reactivates the putty and allows you further coverage and, more importantly, a thinner application so you can build layers. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and before I go, I want to give you a sneak peek at an awesome build I am currently working on. It is a Tamiya KV2 that was abandoned in my closet for years. It's missing pieces and needs a lot of help to be able to finish it. I do a ton of scratch building and I'm having so much fun doing it, and it's really making for a great upload. If you have stuck around to this point, I would love to have you as a subscriber. Hit the bell and be notified of that video. Okay, a huge thanks to all my subscribers for supporting my channel, and I will see you in the next video.